All right, today we're doing something a little bit wild, maybe a little bit silly, but it teaches an absolutely crucial lesson about building a PC. We are going to find out what happens when you create the most extreme system bottleneck you can possibly imagine. So here's the big question, the one this whole thing is built around. Can a $50 CPU, a chip that's basically from a different era, actually power a brand new $750 graphics card? I mean, just looking at the price difference tells you this is probably a terrible idea. But we had to see it for ourselves. So let's meet the stars of our show. This is our unlikely duo, the two clashing components at the very heart of this experiment. Think of it like a buddy cop movie, but, for computer hardware. In one corner, we have the brains of the operation, the little Athlon 3000G. We're talking just 2 cores, 4 threads. This thing is designed for spreadsheets and web browsing, not high-end gaming. And in the other corner, we have the absolute muscle, the RTX 570 Ti. This is a beast, a monster of the GPU, built to chew through the latest games at insane resolutions. And here's where it gets even crazier. The CPU's weakness isn't just about its slow processing power. Oh no. This little Athlon is so limited, its motherboard can't even give the GPU the high-speed connection it needs. It's forcing this brand new, super fast card onto an old, slow data lane. So the system is already hamstrung before we've even clicked on a single game icon. So this brings us right to the core of this whole thing. What is a bottleneck really? And what does it actually look like when it's happening inside a PC like this? The easiest way to think about a CPU bottleneck is to imagine a kitchen. You've got 20 super fast chefs ready to cook, but there's only one manager who's really slow at handing out the orders. It doesn't matter how fast those chefs are, right? They can only work as quickly as they get the instructions. That slow manager, that's our CPU, and it's holding back the entire kitchen. And what happens next is this just disastrous chain reaction. The game asks for all this complex stuff to happen. Our little Athlon CPU just gets completely buried. It's struggling to keep up. So it only manages to send a tiny trickle of data over to the GPU. And the result? Our incredible 5070 Ti, this powerhouse of a card, is just sitting there waiting. All that power just going to waste. Okay, so here's a thought. Maybe we can outsmart the bottleneck. The hypothesis is, what if we crank all the graphic settings to ultra and push the resolution up to 1440p? That gives the GPU a lot more visual work to do. So the question is, can we shift the workload so much that it kind of balances things out and lets us get around our weak little CPU? Well, enough with the theory. It is time to put this completely lopsided system to the test. We fired up some really demanding games to see just how bad this could get. Spoiler alert, it gets bad. Let's just start with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, on a properly balanced PC with a good i9 processor, this GPU is pushing out a beautiful, smooth 114 frames per second. But with our little Athlon in charge, a measly 34 FPS. That is a mind-boggling amount of performance just gone. Completely locked away by that tiny CPU. And I have to tell you, the numbers on a chart don't even begin to describe how awful it felt. It's not just a low number. The experience was stuttery and jarring. In some games, it literally felt like everything was running in slow motion. It was completely, utterly unplayable. And it wasn't a fluke. We saw the same sad story across the board. Cyberpunk 2077 was struggling to even hit 30 FPS, and it had these massive, painful dips. Even in a fast-paced game like Counter-Strike 2, the frame rate was all over the place, making it impossible to aim. The only game that was even remotely playable was an older one, Fallout 4, and even that was nowhere near a smooth 60 frames. So why? Why did it fail so spectacularly? Well, we just have to look at the data, at what was happening inside the PC to find the smoking gun. And trust me, the monitoring tools tell a very clear story. Here it is. The most important number in this whole experiment, 100%. That was the CPU usage, pretty much all the time. The little Athlon was pegged, maxed out, running for its life, just trying to keep up. It had absolutely nothing left to give. So while the CPU was screaming for mercy, what about our monster GPU? Well, it was hovering between just 10 and 30%. It was bored. It was barely breaking a sweat, basically just sipping a coffee, waiting for the CPU to give it something, anything to do. It's that race car stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. And honestly, the original source for this experiment, Random Gaming in HD, put it perfectly. The GPU is just sitting back and, well, not doing much at all, to be honest. All that amazing technology, all that raw power, just sitting there. Our big idea to shift the workload? Total failure. So, after all that stuttering, all that slow motion gameplay, what does this ridiculous experiment really teach us about building a PC the right way? The lesson is crystal clear. The most important thing for performance is not buying the most expensive, most powerful part you can find. No, it's about balance. Your whole system is only ever as strong as its weakest link. Let's just boil it down to the essentials. First, a monster GPU cannot, under any circumstances, make up for a weak CPU. It just can't. Second, when you have a bottleneck, you are literally throwing money away on potential you can never, ever access. And finally, and this is the big one, system balance isn't just a nice idea, it's everything. It's the absolute key to getting the performance you paid for. So that just leaves us with one final thought for you. The next time you're planning an upgrade or mapping out a whole new PC build, the question to ask isn't, what's the best part I can get? The real question is, how do I create the best balance for what I want to do? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.